Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today is August 1st, 2024. This is the daily read for the collective. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you're located. As far as the date is right, hopefully this will be helpful for you. When the tower energy is the thing that can improve our lives today, it is a time to make a change. Tower usually means change and also disruptions. The tower, it often happens when something is clearly needs to be changed. Um, let's say when something is very um, corrupt, it can be part of our character, it can be part of our plans that we are trying to figure out. It can be a general situation that doesn't go anywhere. It's just stagnated, and there are actually problems um, that cannot be ignored anymore. Then today is the day that the old structure will be torn down, because the association of this card with the planet Uranus. We have to understand that there might be situations where we feel kind of unexpected, and we just have to embrace the unexpected. On the good side, sometimes surprises can lead to breakthroughs, because um, when we don't have any surprises in life, sometimes we can be very um, egotistic. Um, is there a word like that? Or maybe overconfident about whatever we're doing. But when tower comes, that's when we realize that we don't have all the power to control everything. That's when we get to a very humble situation. We have to accept, we have to acknowledge our shortcomings, and we just have to be tamed. The tower has its positivity, which is to tone down something that no longer serves us. Maybe it is a relationship, maybe it is a job, maybe it is something that we don't need it anymore. But when it happens, it can bring us some kind of shock. When a shock comes, we can ask ourselves, okay, if we lose this particular thing in our lives, are we gonna be not able to survive? Or are we gonna be okay if we just act accordingly and make the adjustments that we need to make? And for me personally, I believe that if we are still alive, then everything everything, that there will be room for improvement, and there will be solutions. But if we lost our lives, then we are done on this planet. I don't know what's going to happen next, but as far as we are still alive, we can bear the new situation and we can still have a future. So, to deal with today's energy, we have to embrace the change we are facing. And we cannot be afraid of change. And we cannot be afraid of surprises. Even though we can be very prepared emotionally, on a physical level, we have to be very careful about what we're doing. Be aware of your physical health. If you are in work environment that has a lot of machinery, um, and a lot of physical activities, please make sure that um, your physical body is capable in handling whatever needs to be handled. And at the same time, be extra careful when you're handling something, especially with weight, um, heavy stuff. Make sure that you have all the tools you need to carry them, and make sure that you try your best to avoid injuries. Um, so for a small amount of you, there might be a need to remind ourselves and to remember the times that we used to simply um, disrupt a situation because of being impatient. Because the tower energy sometimes can mean uh, we just um, disrupt the progress of something because we're not being patient enough. Uh, I don't know if you understand what I mean, because sometimes some people, if they can be disruptive in certain situations, because they feel angry about a situation, then they decided to just put an end on it, um, in a very disruptive way. So the tower energy can remind us when we did that before, and sometimes destructive can bring something good, but sometimes it can also bring a lot of harm and difficulties. So um, make sure that there are no other better ways to solve the problem, before you decided to really disrupt something. Um, for some of you, you might be visiting some places that are really tall, like tall buildings. Um, it does not necessarily mean disruptions at those tall buildings, but sometimes it can be. So just be careful. Um, for some of you, you might feel very strongly about um, past experiences that involve some kind of earthquake and also past wounds. Um, for example, the 9/11, which was one of the greatest, um, the the most influential tragedy ever in humankind. Um, you might feel very strongly about it because of some reasons. As far as I know, yesterday I actually read the news, and um, the U.S. government, they made it they made certain decisions, and the trials for people involved with the 9/11. Um, I feel like there might be other news coming out today on um yeah, maybe there will still be something that has to be handled. Um, and the Tower card is also reminding us that yes, even though it can be very painful to experience disruptions in life, sometimes it is inevitable because for some situations, if they are not being torn down, um, it it could only go worse. So for many of us, well, actually, I believe that most of the human beings, we actually have a soul contract when we come into this lifetime, and there are decisions that we have already made when we enter this world. I know probably this can sound really ridiculous for some of you, but I mean for myself, I get it. I know what it means. I can understand the consequence because I do feel like there are things that I've done in my life that I already know when it happens. I actually know is meant to happen. That kind of feeling. So I just want to share this insight with you, um, because I know many of you, or maybe some of you, might be thinking about um, your loved ones who passed away because of some chaotic situation and disruptions unexpectedly, and that brings a lot of uh, wounds on a spiritual level, even physical level. But if we allow ourselves to digest the situation, um, and the tragedy in positive ways, we can still benefit from it. Even though I know maybe it sounds a little bit cruel to say, but it's true. Um, Many things are perceptive. It really depends on how we look at it. If we look at it as a really bad thing, then it's a really bad thing. But if we look at it as a bad thing that enlightens us, then it can also be a good thing. So everything has good and bad. It really depends on how we see it. Um, yes, some people might pass away because of tragedies, but when they left when they left our lives, their departure, of course, torn down part of our lives at the same time because they are no longer there physically. But in this process, we are also gaining the awareness of how important life is. And in comparison to them, we still have the chances to survive and to thrive. But for them, um, even though they might have something they still want to do, uh, they have their ambitions, but because of the tragedy, they can't do it anymore. This is just an example of how we can appreciate our lives more by accepting and acknowledging that they have left our lives. Um, I know I apologize for having a lot of pause during this video, because when I try to connect with the energy um, of the 911 and all the tragedies that involve buildings collapsing, I do believe that there are souls that would like me to say something. This it doesn't always happen that way, but when it happens, usually I speak more slowly, and because the energy can be kind of overwhelming. So I apologize for the pause, but it is because I'm trying to receive the energies and the messages, but at the same time, because it comes with a lot of emotional weight, if you understand what I mean. Um, because it's very clear that there are spirits that want you to heal, to heal from the destructions of life. Um, and they don't want you to simply feel pity for them. They don't want you to be that way. On the other hand, those who passed away, they want us to understand that in order to climb through the mountains of life, we have to be brave enough to accept disruptions and accept the torn down of the old structures. Because if those structures are never torn down, humanity will not progress. Change is inevitable. And we can't be afraid of it. If something is being taken away, it's meant to be taken away because in our lives, those things outlived the purpose. What I mean is, our lessons with those people and those things have been completed already. So that's why they are no longer there. And we have to move on and learn something else, have new connections. We cannot just hold on to the things, the sensations that we always feel familiar with, because that can actually create stagnation. We can sometimes remember that, but we cannot be always staying in that kind of mentality. The mentality of, victimized. Oh, someone is taken away from me. Something is taken away from me. Yeah, so make sure that we're not victimizing ourselves. If there's anything unexpected that happened today, we just need to deal with it and to embrace the change. And hopefully, this change will bring a much better future for everyone. So, this is the read that I would like to give to you today. I hope you enjoy it and I hope you find it helpful. If you like the video, please consider liking and subscribing. And I appreciate your time and participation. Take care and have a great day.